I want to suggest to the policymakers and the politicians focus on evidence-based impact assessment. You can gauge the opinion and you can have a dialogue with the expert and set the strategy for climate change adaptation and mitigation, as well as to lobby for the loss and damage fund with UN. Biological, societal and systematic challenge. When you go to the remote area of Nepal, parents still do not invest quality education for their girls. Dream big. If you have a aim to reach to the moon, at least you can reach to the halfway. Make a group of like-minded people. It is very difficult to break the stereotype single. If you are in a group, you become stronger.
Our guest for today is Dr. Shobhapoudel. Dr. Shobhapoudel is a well-renowned scientist with more than 15 years of experience in interdisciplinary research, especially in climate change. She has completed her PhD in Global Environmental Studies from Kyoto University, Japan. She is awarded with various prestigious scholarships and research awards. Recently, she has been recognized as one of the 50 influential women from Nepal and one of the 10 inspiring women from abroad. Welcome, Dr. Poudel.
Thank you.
Congratulations for being awarded as recognized as one of the influential women in Nepal. How do you feel about this recognition?
Thank you, Rama. Thank you for having me in your show. I feel privileged to be here today, and I'm overwhelmed by this recognition by online cover and nepalbritain.com as one of the 50 influential women from Nepal and 10 inspiring women from abroad. When I saw this news, I was in Sri Lanka for my field visit, and then I scroll on my mobile. Then I was happy. Of course, we become happy when you recognized your work and your research in national media or global media. At the same time, I was feeling accountable to the society, to the younger generation. And after this recognition news on the media, I received several messages, phone calls, particularly from younger generation and ladies. They wanted to talk with me about the career in science and technology, environmental management, and they text me, "Ma'am, how can I become like you, like this thing?" And it really makes me more accountable, and I take this opportunity to thank online cover and nepalbritain.com and the selection committee, the jury committee, and I suggest them continue this this recognition in the coming days as well.
You came from Chittagong, right?
Yeah.
So how do you describe your journey from your childhood to renowned scientist?
I'm from Chittagong, Gitanagar. I born in Indrapuri. This was a small village. Actually, it was village, but this day it is metropolitan city. Bharatpur Mahanagar Palika. Earlier it was BDC. Gabisha, it was Gabisha. And I went to Indrapuri primary school for my primary education, and I did my from grade 6 to bachelor degree. I went to Arunodaya school, high school, Arunodaya college. I spent 10 years on the same place, Arunodaya, and I have a different attachment and emotion with Arunodaya. Because I spent, I would like to say I spent more energetic and good life in Arunodaya school. Why I spend so much time? There are several reasons, from 6 to 10. SLC. Up to SLC, I did from Arunodaya High School. And then when I was completing my SLC, then they started 10+2. And then when I completed my 10+2, they established college. And why not in one home? You know, and I was among the good student, and of course college also didn't want me to go outside from the college because they want to hold the good student.
It's an opportunity for Arunodaya
Yeah.
having you as well. Yeah. So like you did your graduate school from Japan, right? So like when you did PhD.
Yeah, and then after bachelor degree, I went to Kirtipur for my. Actually, I'm from management graduate.
Really?
Yeah, my master's and bachelor degree from management, and PhD from environmental management. I just changed my career, like my subject from management to environmental management, and it was a great challenge for me. Challenge in the sense.
Why did you decide to change actually?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because after completing my master's degree, I did, work on bank as well for 3 years.
Okay.
But I was not satisfied.
Really?
Yeah, I was not satisfied. And when I started my PhD, I realized that
That's
is
your
what,
passion,
that is what I wanted to do and I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And at the time, I got insight like I'm a person to solve the real world problem, to want to dig around our problem, and I'm like. Want to like solve the real.
You explore your passion for science
passion
and
for
yes,
science.
scientific research.
And you know, in the school level, we just pass the exam. We just read for we just study to pass the exam.
Yes.
You know, and whatever the marks you obtain, then in SLC, then derive your future. In SLC, I got second division. Then I thought, science is not my business.
Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of really the situation. Like whenever you have a good marks and SLC, it's like you have to go in science. Maybe you don't even have passion for that, right? It's kind of common trend in Nepal, and I'm glad that you recognize your passion, and then you were in it and you were becoming very successful. It's kind of like an inspiration for others as well. If you were passionate about something, you can even go and later stage. Yeah, in your PhD, you did your research in climate change.
Yeah, climate change and food security, and my research was of course, in Nepal, Lamjung district. I did my research in Lamjung district, especially focusing on the climate change impact on food security and livelihood of the mountainous farmers and mountainous household. I have an interesting story of PhD as well. When I started my PhD, or in the process of my PhD, you know, I was 7 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
I was in Japan, and then my professor asked me to visit him, whatever the proposal I have written for the PhD entrance exam, and I went to visit him, and he said, just his first expression was when he looked at me, and he said, "Can you like this?" And yes, I say I can, because I wanted to do PhD in any case.
I can feel about it. I can feel about it. When I started my PhD, I was also 6 months pregnant. So like, I can totally understand how that journey could be. But I'm glad that you decided to pursue on it. And later on, like, what were the challenges? How did you complete your research? And can you please explain a bit more about your research and findings?
Yeah, in Japan, you know, Japan education system is more liberal and more open. Otherwise, I couldn't get admission in environmental management. You know, I am a management graduate. I'm doing a PhD.
If you go to Tribhuvan University, you don't even get equivalent, even if you have a degree in science.
I'm facing the same situation.
Yeah.
I applied for equivalence in 2019. It's already 5 years. I have not got it.
Yeah.
You know, but Japan education is more open. Whatever the background is yours, if you have to meet certain criteria and you have to pass the entrance exam, and my aim was just pass to the entrance exam. And
Dr. Soba, somehow like you changed your field from management to science, right? Somehow like our system, for example, equivalence and all those, it's kind of restrict in later age. If we decided this is my area of interest, our system restrict us, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't even allow us to pursue in different field. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, you know, I already told you my equivalence is still pending, and if there is any vacancy for faculty, I am not eligible to apply because management faculty doesn't accept my application, and because
Your PhD doesn't count over there.
yeah, my PhD from environmental management, and the environmental management department of Tiruvani University doesn't consider my application because my bachelor and master is from management.
That's a story that many people, many inspiring people who want to come back to Nepal and contribute here with their international degree, they are facing it. And I really think that the authorities from Tiruvani University need to reconsider about it. That's my personal view as well. So like going back to your research, you did your PhD in climate change. Can you please elaborate what is climate change in context of Nepal?
Yeah, in the context of Nepal, climate change, like we have two opinion, positive as well as negative, because our heterogeneous topography, our adaptation capacity, these determine the vulnerability and the impact of climate change. Of course, Nepal is one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. Generally top 4th, top 10 most vulnerable countries, because we have not well prepared to climate change and climate induced disasters. In the case of Nepal, we can see like the busy impact of climate change. We are in high risk of glacier lake outburst flood, as well as we are not well prepared for the climate induced disaster as well. Another thing is impact on agriculture. You know, the vegetation is shifting upward. So do you have already prepared for this type of vegetation, or do we already have this type of vegetable that can be grown in the higher altitude? Are you already prepared? Not yet. That's why my research also showed that there are, like when we see the impact of climate change, like extreme rainfall and rising temperature, there are somehow negative impact to agriculture production. In our countries, majority of the farmers depend on rain-fed agriculture. That's why also we are more vulnerable. And this year we experience, you know, heat wave in the Tarai region, as well in Kathmandu. We can experience the like warmest and the extreme temperature these days. So in the context of Nepal, also in last year, Ontario Guterres, General Secretary of UN, also visited the higher Himalaya and appealed to the international society. Nepal is highly impacted by climate change and highly vulnerable to climate change. So we have to act now, otherwise it would be too late for us to adapt to climate change. I want to suggest to the policymakers and the politicians, just focus on the evidence-based impact, not the political talk, not that type of fallacy. I want to say fallacy, political fallacy. Just focus on evidence-based impact assessment as well. And if you want to have export, in Nepal, we don't have the lack of export. There are many climate change scientists, so you can gauge the opinion and you can have a dialogue with the expert and set the strategy for climate change adaptation and mitigation, as well as to lobby for the loss and damage fund with UN. And from June 3 to 11 in Bonn, there is a climate change conference. So that type of forum is great platform for Nepal to show how Nepal is impacted by climate change and to let the international community know about the climate change impact on Nepal. Why I am focusing on this, because Nepal has a very less contribution to climate change,
Greenhouse gas emission,
greenhouse
yeah.
gas emissions. So we have to
We have right for
we
that.
have
We
right
have
for
right for
that,
that.
and we have to get compensation of our Himalaya becoming the rock from the glacier, from the snow Himalaya to the rock. So we have to focus on
There are
this.
various aspects of climate change impact in Nepal, but let's focus on its impact on agriculture, as you are mostly delved into it. And looking at the agricultural sectors, Nepal has very highly geographical diversity, right? A very diverse climates, and from 60 meter to 8,848 meter of mean sea levels, and even in 4,000, 5,000 meters of altitude we do farming. So are there enough research to show how the vegetation is shifting, and there might have some positive impact, right? For example, in the altitude that we didn't used to grow fruits and vegetables, maybe it's now we can do it, and so there might have some positive impact as well. Have you seen like that any positive impact?
There might have positive impact, as I already mentioned. Are we already ready for that type of are we already have that type of vegetables or that type of seed we can grow in the uplifted, like the shifting vegetation in the higher areas? What I mean is that for example, in the middle hill, the orange already damaged, and the apple is also shifting to upward higher altitude. And in Lomjung Tanu area, I think if you have visited there, 10 years back, the livelihood of the income source of the middle hill population was orange farming in Lomjung and Tanu district.
Isn't it now as well?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it due to other factor, disease, or other biotic stress environment, or it's due to climate change?
Maybe other factor, but the warming rate is higher in the higher altitude, that may be one of the contributing factor of shifting the vegetable to the upward. And the vegetable that used to be grown in the lowland area or the middle hill area, that are not, we cannot find these days.
Yeah, I think based on your conversation, we need to have more investment.
Yeah.
And actually the government this year declare this decade as an investment in agriculture. It's kind of positive, but I think the international community and the government also need to invest in agricultural research to diagnose the impact of climate change and also to find the solution. And I know you are doing some research to find out the solution as a climate smart agriculture. Would you please elaborate about climate smart agriculture and your research finding?
Yeah, I'm working in climate smart agriculture for the last around 6-7 years, and I got insight about climate smart agriculture while doing my PhD, because in my PhD I work on climate change impact on food security and agricultural production and the livelihoods of the people. So at the time I thought, then what are the solutions? In this case, if there is an impact of climate change, there should be something that help to adapt to climate change and mitigate the impact of climate change as well. And the concept of climate smart agriculture started I think around 2010 from the Climate Change and Food Security Conference. FAO introduced climate smart agriculture.
Would you please describe or elaborate climate smart agriculture to my general audience? What is climate smart agriculture and how it's important in case of Nepal?
Yeah, climate smart agriculture is the agriculture practices. We are doing agriculture practices for ages. Yeah, and climate smart agriculture practices are those practices that help to increase agriculture productivity, enhance the adaptation capacity of the farmers and enhance the resilience of farmers, as well as increase income, as well as help to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, no emission or low emission we say. Yeah. So these practices are considered climate smart agriculture practices, like organic fertilizer, you know. I think we both are from farming family.
Yeah.
I am from farming family. My family.
Composting,
Yeah, composting. Yeah,
vermicomposting,
and using less chemical fertilizer. These are climate smart agriculture.
cover cropping.
Yeah, mixed cropping, you know, and
Crop
solar.
rotation. Maybe.
Yeah, crop rotation, solar irrigation, and we use like water recharge pond.
Yeah.
You know,
That's-
these
yeah, yeah.
these are.
It's very water recharge pond. I think it's kind of very traditional practices in our Tarai belt, right? I see a lot of ponds over in Tarai region when I visited there.
Yeah. This is the traditional practices, and knowingly or unknowingly, we were applying climate smart practices. But these days, in
Now
the-
we are rebranding
yeah,
that in terms of
rebranding
climate
smart practices,
Yeah.
and in some areas, to feed the growing population, we are using chemical fertilizer intensively and haphazardly. That's why we have to be more cautious about the use of chemical
I would say like in Nepal, like the use of chemical fertilizer, is not that much. It's kind of like I mean, like the need and the demand and supply is kind of balanced, but we are using haphazardly. Like somewhere it's kind of surplus, somewhere we are not using it, and like deficit and maybe lack of knowledge or availability both when farmers need it. So I think that's the major problem. Anyway, so like your research in climate smart agriculture, how do you translate that to in the benefit of farmers and the policy making?
My research is mostly I'm focusing on cost benefit analysis of climate smart agriculture. You know, why I'm focusing on cost benefit analysis? This is the one of the policies and program to adapt to climate change, to mitigate the impact of climate change, to reduce greenhouse gas emission. So, what are the benefit to the farmers? Why farmers should apply climate smart agriculture practices? Are these practices are beneficial to the farmers or not? I wanted to research on these areas, and Rama, we have to do cost benefit analysis of each investment.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, whether we are buying a pen, we think, or whether we invest 100 rupees, we think.
Yes.
So, international organization, Nepal government is investing huge amount in the name of agriculture, in the name of climate smart agriculture.
Yes.
And why not we do cost benefit analysis, the implemented practices, or before implementing the practices? Literally, we have to do the impact evaluation after the program or policy, or before we can do cost benefit analysis. Cost benefit analysis we can do before and after implementing the project. In my research, I can do before and after, but I am doing already pilot study area. Some villages are already declared climate smart villages.
In Nepal?
Yeah, in Nepal.
Do you have any examples like that, like where they are declared by government or they're recognized by international organization? Where are these villages located now?
These villages there are several villages, and I went to Nawalpur. Nawalpur, there are 2 villages, climate smart villages by supported by LIBOR, CGIAR, the work and agriculture, and they declare climate smart villages where all activities should be climate smart, like less chemical fertilizer, you know, and our activities should be climate smart, climate friendly in climate smart village. There are several climate smart villages. As well as Isimor has started some resilience mountain solutions in Kavre areas, and there are other 5 districts like Gorkha, Bordia. There are also climate smart village and climate smart practices are ongoing as a pilot study. So I'm focusing on cost benefit analysis. I want to go back again there.
That's right.
Why I'm focusing on this cost benefit analysis? What I realized, I got opportunity to work with Policy Research Institute as well. It's
That's the
a
government institution,
government
working
think tank, policy think tank, and at the time I got an opportunity to review a few policies as well. And I closely observed the policy formulation process as well, you know. And cost benefit analysis is a tool that help us to decide whether to continue policy, terminate policy, or reform the policies.
I'm glad that you came back to this process. Like many people, when we talk about the policies in Nepal, they just like think that the policy making process is not actually the research based or fact based. How is your experience like that? Is it just like people keep explain it at a top down approach rather than like finding a real solution? What was your experience on that?
It is somehow true. It is somehow true because some of the policies used to formulate in the closed room, they brought to the parliament for the discussion and they pass. But these days there is slight improvement, I would like to say, and Policy Research Institute had started this process. Policy Research Institute do expert dialogue, and they have a public dialogue every week over every policies and program before drafting the policy. Policy Research Institute has a mandate to have a discussion with experts as well as beneficiaries. There is some silver line these days.
And maybe like these days, as you were recognized as influential women, this is an example that before that, I feel that the scientists are working in one way, but they were not even well recognized even by the media and other like other public forums. Now slowly, like people have realized that this process need to have some research and based on science and evidences, and that's definitely a silver lining on that. Yeah, and again going back to your research, did you have any translation of your research in agricultural policy making as the agriculture policy 2077 is still underway?
Underway.
Yeah.
This one is all still underway, and we had expert discussion this policy in I think 2021 as well. We had a huge discussion in Policy Research Institute about these policies, and this is also is still underway, you know, 2077 and 81. So we don't have a policy at hand right now. It's still in formulation process.
Were you be able to incorporate your finding or expertise on any policies that already came out in Nepal?
I'm planning these days. I have a research in not only in Nepal. My research, I have extended my research a few countries of South Asia, including India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and I'm planning to write a policy brief to make the strategy of climate change and agriculture, even to recommend to SAARC and other regional organizations. Of course, in the case of Nepal, I would provide some policy recommendation. Why I am particularly focusing on Nepal and in South Asia, because the finding or the practices that is beneficial for Nepal doesn't necessarily beneficial to India. Even the practices, the beneficial in the mid-hill doesn't necessarily beneficial to the lowland area. So we have to have the location specific practices for climate smart agriculture.
There is spatial differences as well as temporal recommendation, or what?
For the time being, my research area is in the lowland area, so I would focus on the lowland area. Is, you know, Tarai is the football of Nepal as well, and it is nowadays.
But the hill and mountain are more vulnerable to climate change.
My research limitation, because of my research limitation, I went to the lowland area. I also went to Bakunde Besi nearby Kathmandu, and found some areas like found some agriculture practices beneficial to the farmers, and these practices are not beneficial in Nawalpur.
Yeah, that's the whole point of research that we do. Like one recommendation for one places might not be the same as another places, because we do have lots of variability.
Yeah, and another interesting thing is while working in South Asian countries, Nepal, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, there is a few similarities, you know. The similarities in the sense is the participation of female farmers high, you know, comparing to the male farmers.
Again, you came to an exciting point, like in South Asia, especially in Nepal. Mostly these days, even the agricultural census show that the feminization in agriculture is increasing. So, like, do you also work on that, or do you have any research ideas, like how could we develop a gender-sensitive climate in smart practices or so?
You came to the right point. During my research and data analysis and stakeholder discussion with farmers, what female farmers suggested, please bring this message to the government of Nepal. If they are going to develop a strategy for climate smart agriculture, please suggest them to develop the strategy gender friendly climate smart agriculture practices.
It's the right time, Dr. Soba, because I think UN has declared 2025 or 2026 as a International Year for Women Farmers. I'm not sure either it's 25 or 26, and I think it's the right time to intervene on that too.
The climate smart agriculture, why I'm focusing on gender friendly, I went to Nawalpur, and the solar irrigation is very popular for the climate smart agriculture practices. But you know, for the solar irrigation, they need the training for plumbing, piping, fitting, etc. But women doesn't have that type of training, and it was very difficult for them to irrigate their land, and it is the same in the case of Sri Lanka as well. And I asked to the Sri Lankan female farmers, and how did you face this or solve this problem or overcome this problem? And they say, we learn helping each other, they say, you know, and there is no male member at the home, you know, this because of migration and feminization of agriculture, and they said, we learning by doing. They said, oh my God.
You know, like I'm also in this field, so like I feel somehow like in policy making process or decision making bodies, there is still lack of presence of like females, like, you know, so like somehow it's hard to endorse all these recommendations. Do you feel like that, or do you have a space that you can accommodate the recommendation from female farmers in the policy making from the government level, or still it's a big challenge?
Yeah, it still is a big challenge to recommend female farmers for the policy making process. But as I mentioned already, Policy Research Institute has started to have discussion on beneficiaries as well. So I hope this type of farmers also, farmers' voices are also integrated during the policy formulation process in Nepal. So Nepal government in 2022, they recently released the report of climate change impact and how much people understand climate change and impact on agriculture. And that type of report also helped to formulate the policy as well.
I hope the policy making body and the people will read and listen these voices. I wish I'm also like optimistic about it. There is silver lining. And coming back to your journey, you were an inspiration for me as well, like as a Nepali women scientist.
Thank you.
You were also contributing author of IPCC assessment report. Can you please elaborate your journey? And you are now Marie Curie Fellowship, and you oversee many countries including India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. How do you manage it?
How do you manage? It's very difficult to answer. You know, is you are also professional woman, and you and me have similar challenges somehow.
A mother, a wife, all these social responsibilities, and how, you know, like if somebody inspired to be a scientist like you, how should we manage our time and responsibility together, like the work and profession balance, or like how do you do that?
In my case, I have one habit of consistency. You know, like I do the work consistently, because sometimes I do and stop. I don't do never like this. I just keep the consistency, and maintain the consistency. And every morning when I wake up and do my daily routines, and then I list down what I have to do today. And then at the end of the day, I tick what I did today. And then as a IPCC author, Marie Curie fellow, as well as influential woman, I also face several challenges. You know, we are in patriarchal societies, and in patriarchal society we have our own norms and beliefs, and sometimes it is difficult to break this as well. Living in Nepal, in South Asian countries, and as a working mother, there are several challenges. It's not only my challenge.
You know, some of you are already breaking the ceilings, but for many of us, you know, it's kind of like a dream. Whether we can reach to that level, how could we manage? So I'm just asking you, the consistency and the passion is one of the things. Other challenges, and how could we overcome that? Like if somebody hearing Dr. Soba, I really wanted to be a scientist like you, like what is your recommendation for those young women and girls?
Challenges, in every step of life we face challenges, but we have to manage it ourselves, because you are sole responsible for the challenges you faced, you know. For this one, you have to make the group of like-minded people.
Yeah, that's supporting group. Yeah,
supporting hands, and your supporting family. Sometimes your family cannot understand what you are doing, and you are responsible to convince them you are doing right for not only for you, for your family, for the society, for the country as well. You know, to pursue the career in science, technology, research and innovation is not easy. You know, we have several challenges. I want to categorize, it is my categorization, only three challenges. One is biological. As a female,
being a mother,
you have a natural gift to bear a child and to rear a child. You have a food for your child, you know, so you are more responsible for your child. Biological challenges, societal challenges. Even, you know, it seems her like bitter. When you go to the remote area of Nepal, parents still do not invest quality education for their girls.
Yeah, that's so true. Because they consider that they are the property of other household, not their own. Like they cannot take the revenue.
And when you see the government report, girls' child number is higher in public school, and boys' student number is higher in private school. When you see the government data, wow, girls' child number is increasing. So good.
Yeah. But the reality is different.
It's different, you know. This is one societal challenge we have to face to come here as a woman scientist, to be the, like, not only woman scientist, to be the bureaucratic leader, secretary of the government. I can believe how many challenges they faced. Another is a systematic challenge. You know, systematic challenge in the sense there is no special provision for women scientists, and no particular funding for.
Even they don't believe that the female can be a scientist in many institutions and
this
many
is
scenarios.
the myth Myth and myths mean misinformation. I would like to say this is the myth, because we have a myth like women career are not for science and technology, not for engineering. They are for teaching and caregiving career.
Nursing,
like nursing, caregiving, like this. This is the myth, and this is the kind of stereotype as well. So it is difficult to break the stereotype, but these days our societal transformation slowly, it's being slowly transformation. So we hope our younger generation, next generation, wouldn't have to face
And
such
we
a
are
big
here
challenge.
to share
to
our
support
experience
them,
and support them.
to support them and to guide them as well. And I'm always open, whatever.
Talking with you, there comes a major thoughts in my mind, and many talk show or even the forums, panel discussion, and all this policy discussion, I see like the male presence is like highly dominant. And I now recently you are being a keynote speaker in some of the forums. So how do you explain that experience, and like how do you? And I personally, like with my friend circle and all people like you, I see there are very talented women speakers. Why don't they consider them as a speaker and panelist, or like the major stakeholder? What was your experience on it?
This is also a kind of perception. Yeah, our societal perception. Society still hesitates to believe you,
to recognize your potential.
Recognize your potential. And recently I have been invited as a keynote speaker in Women Agriculture Summit 2024 in Chitawan. Honestly speaking, it was my first keynote speaking, and I was emotional on that time, because in my own land, Chitawan, I was speaking as a keynote speaker in Women Agriculture Summit, organized by Women Leadership Forum. For this one, like what I would like to suggest, we have to encourage each other, and I don't want to say male and female are equal. We are never equal, because we are complementary of each other. Physically, biologically, emotionally, we are different. Then how we can be equal?
There is like different role of both of us.
Different role, responsibilities. I can be pregnant, not my husband, and I can feed my child, not my husband. Government should have the provision, should compensate the whatever the career break women scientists take during the pregnancy, rearing the child.
That's true.
What I am focusing on this, when you are pregnant, when you have a baby, you have to take the career break for some years.
Many people even like lost their careers on the process.
They lost the careers and they have to take a break. And while taking the break, they think, oh, my male counterpart, my male colleague moving forward, publishing paper during these 2-3 months, 2-3 years, this should be compensated by the systematic way. What I am focusing on, biological, societal and systematic challenge. So I would like to give you one example. When I applied Marie Curie Fellowship, Marie Curie Fellowship only eligible within the 8 years, within 8 years. Within 8 years, and there is a provision. If you have taken parental leave, maternity leave, and then your years is more than 8 years, you can declare and you can apply.
Oh, that's great, right?
That type of system we have to establish, and for this one, we have to make a policy provision.
Here is a provision that she has a child, she's pregnant, she can do it. That is more discouragement than like encouraging environment. The positive bias culture, I think it's lacking in Nepal, and I hope like we need to start discussion on it, and it's a very important timing to start this kind of discussion. I know like today we talk a lot about personal experiences to climate change, to how could we create an enabling environment for the female as a professional, as a scientist. Would you like to share anything else?
Yeah, I think we covered most of the thing, and it was very nice chat with you here. But what I suggest to young generation these days, I receive many messages and phone calls from the young generation, especially from female, and they want to learn many things from the scientists like you and me and other women scientists who are already renowned at the international level. So what I suggest to the young generation, dream big.
Yeah.
Dream big.
There are always challenges. We are
Yeah.
facing challenges, so honestly,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Dream big. If you have a aim to reach to the moon, at least you can reach to the halfway.
Yeah.
My philosophy is this, you
Yeah.
know, and make a group of like-minded people. It is very difficult to break the stereotype single.
Yeah.
If you are in a group, you become stronger.
We met together when we joined the organization for women scientists in developing world, right? We know each other now, like we feel each other, right? So it's very important to create those forums, and I think the government also need to facilitate such kind of forums.
Another thing is, when you do something, maybe people laugh at you in the beginning. Maybe people can laugh at you in the beginning. Do not give up. Maintain consistency. No matter whatever they say, but you have to be clear on what you are doing and what is your intention. You have to be clear on.
And we need to be open to take support whenever we feel.
Yeah, and ask for the support to your family member. Your family member is your biggest supporter. Is the biggest supporter. Your husband, your parents, your siblings. They guide you. They give you the good suggestion, and your circle, like-minded people, and share the opportunity among the groups. You know, these days, many young generation female ladies or female scientists, undergraduate female students ask me, "Ma'am, do you have any opportunity?" And then I share with them. As far as possible, I give them some assignment, and they can learn like for 2 months or 3 months, like an internship or something. For doing this, we can grow ourselves, and we can
help other to grow.
Yeah. And then we can make them the environment to grow, and we have to think about our generation as well. So we have to create the environment where we can develop more resilient, inclusive society for our younger generation.
Thank you, Dr. Soba, for being here today, and it was so enlightening talk. And I already told you I'm inspired by your work, and I definitely wish you all the best for your future intervention in Nepal and in South Asian countries and abroad. Hopefully we can work together as well in some intervention in future.
Thank you, Rama. Thank you for
so much
having me, and thank you very much.